Long wait. Welcome back to Noob to Noob. I sound excited because I am. I've spent some time revamping a little bit. Nowhere near done. Just getting the workshop set up, and that's what working on an X-Maxx requires. But tonight's video, and actually I think I'm going to be doing two videos tonight, is going to be one, switching out the plastic diff carrier for the Traxxas Aluminum diff carriers that typically come in the center diff, as well as showing you out there who are having issues with maybe a little bit of manufacturing on the bulkheads. They were out of spec or out of tolerance a little bit, shimming the diffs. Now, I know probably the majority of rigs out there don't need to shim if they don't have damaged or worn bulkheads. But some of you out there, you know, who bash a lot, or find yourselves eating up teeth on your ring gear or your pinion, it's a cheap fix for worn bulkheads without repairing or replacing the bulkhead. So we're just going to get into it, guys. Thanks for joining me. Like and subscribe. I'm going to try to put it somewhere up there. I'll make it pop up on the screen, make it pretty. That'll be the first time I do that. And let's just get into it. So I already have the Hot Racing diff covers on. So obviously I have to take the diff covers off. Now, some of you who've been watching my videos might say, holy crap, man, you're making really slow progress on your X-Maxx. And my God, is it the truth? I feel like every time I take a step forward and I have parts coming in that I find something else that I forgot that I wanted to upgrade before putting everything back together. I think finally, I think we're on the right track here. I'm hoping to have this X-Maxx up and running for some bashing here by hopefully next weekend. This coming weekend is probably a little bit of a pipe dream, excuse me, but we'll see. So here you go. The funny thing is I've had all of these diffs apart like a couple of weeks ago, and obviously I haven't ran my truck since because I put diff oil in them, diff lube, and I decided I wanted to switch to the aluminum carriers after I was done. So obviously here's your diff, standard plastic carrier. That's your regular part number 7781. This part is necessary for shimming, and I'll show you why later. But we're obviously going to take our bearings off. Now, what I've been doing is, and here's a plug for a great company. I think a lot of you out there probably already know them, but Jim's Bearings. I have a set of chrome and a set of stainless steel bearings I'm replacing as I go. All the bearings in here. I'm doing chrome in the diffs because obviously they're packed full of grease. I don't see much corrosion going on in there. Now in the wintertime, I'm probably going to switch out some stainless just because I do love to bash in the snow and pull my daughters around on the sled. So that'll be that. So we're going to obviously just start doing the plastic carrier swap. So we're going to take this apart here, and I feel like a little bit of a girl here wearing gloves, but this girl cut two of his fingers wide open cutting an onion the other day, and I don't want a bunch of grease packed inside of my cut. Yeah, I know, right? I always laugh at people when they cut their hands open with a knife, one of those, and eventually karma just comes back around to get you. So these screws that you're taking out of the plastic carriers, it's unique because when you switch to the aluminum carrier, you actually have to use different screws. For those of you, I dropped the bolt. For those of you who have had the center differential apart, if you remember, the bolts that are on the center differential are wacky. They're short with a real wide head, like a real circular head, and it's flat. It's nothing like these screws. And I believe those are 15 millimeter, and we need 10 to go on the aluminum, and I'll show you what I mean when I get there. So here's the beautiful part. As you can see, this diff was pretty freshly filled with 100K diff lube just a couple of weeks ago. Now, it does look kind of dark, which is funny. I don't know why, because it was clear. I guess it's just because I didn't clean it out well in the first place. But like I said, I only ever had like 4 runs on this thing stock. So first things first, you're gonna pull out your spider gears, okay, and just lay them down. Now, if you're not replacing any of these, which I don't need to because this X-Maxx was pretty much brand new when I started this endeavor, you can take out this gear as well. And actually it came off. There is a washer, but I think it's on the back side of this here probably. There's probably both of them here, I would imagine. Yeah, they're both there. So you want to take that off, the rubber washer, and you're going to need to take the Teflon washer off also. And this might prove a little bit more difficult than it appears it should. And it's really mated there. All right, secret weapon. There we go. All right, Teflon washer's off. Okay, so that's separated. Now, I have the aluminum diff carrier already out of the package. For those of you that are wondering a part number, it is this part number, 7781X. Your plastic diff carrier is 7781. Whoa, 7781. You can see it's already in the package sealed. But 7781X is your aluminum diff carrier for the center. Now, as I was saying before, the bolts that I was talking about that go in the center, I don't know if you can see, but they have the flat head on them. It's a goofy flat-headed screw. The bolts that you want to go in are here. They have them in the package. I'm switching to stainless on them just because it's not going to move much. Now, stainless is a little bit softer than the steel that they give you, but for me, it's just going to work out better. It's less corrosion in there. Not that I know I just got done saying I'm using chrome bearings in here because the corrosion isn't really an issue, but on the, I don't know, I'm switching to stainless. It is what it is. So you're gonna have to use, instead of the nylon washer that I pulled off of the gear, we're switching to the metal because this is, this washer is, I guess it's supposed to run cooler. It's supposed to help cool the aluminum, I guess. I forget exactly what they call the washer. I think it's on here. Stainless, no, it's just called stainless washer. So the washer will go in here where you can slip it on the gear. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put it on the gear. Obviously, we're going to slide this back on. There you go. And we are going to drop it in. Make sense? Now, felt like that didn't seed very well, but I guess it did. Sometimes that rubber, I had it, and the rubber on the first one I did just seemed like it really didn't want to, see, like this one's doing the same kind of thing. It's kind of tight, and it gets kind of goofy. Now, this one actually went in better than I thought it did originally, but we're gonna pull it out. Redo, take two. All right, take two. Much better. All right, so there it is. So we're gonna set that off to the side. Now, you can see our spider gears here covered in diff oil, which doesn't really matter because I'm taking them apart. I'm not cleaning them up entirely because, like I said, these are almost brand new, and I just changed the diff oil, so I'm just kind of wiping them off so they're a little bit easier to deal with. Now, you can use the same shafts. I've seen a couple of people saying that you needed to use the aluminum shafts as well as the spacers, and I mean, so I guess I'm saying this poorly. The aluminum carrier comes in the center diff with different spacers than your stock plastic carrier does. So you can't use these spacers. They don't fit. I don't know if you can see. I'll try to get it close here. Hopefully I'm trying to look and make sure I can. So in here, oh wow, I'm doing a terrible job of this. In here you can see, they're like right there, there's like a groove and it's tapered at the bottom. Whereas these are obviously just flat and square. So what I've been doing is, just because obviously we break our trucks a ton, and who knows, I've seen some people that went to aluminum carriers and ended up switching back to plastic. They had various issues, whether or not it be the stainless steel washer that was like wearing the aluminum carrier down, which I find weird because it doesn't really happen in the center diff, but we'll see. I've just been saving all my parts and from the stock diff and components. All the bearings are in there. Stuff the carrier in there, maybe. All right. Okay, now we can proceed. Next part you need, the correct spacers, are in part number 7783X. Okay, this is the center diff spider gear shaft and spacer kit. So we're gonna crack this open. And like I said, you don't need the shafts. You just need the spacers. Now, am I ever going to make use of the other parts of this kit. I mean, hell, I have a lot of extras of basically everything now. So maybe, maybe not. All right. Bingo. So we have our spacers, we have our spider gears, and our shafts. So let's build the first one. Now, these do have to face a certain direction, obviously, because they have the the grooved ends, and you have to get the flat spot on the shaft when you're doing this bottom set to be facing straight up. So a lot of times I'll take these little needle nose round pliers, get everything adjusted so it's facing the correct direction. And I hope I'm getting this on camera well enough here. And then I'll just seat it in. Now you'll notice it's not going to go in. You're not going to get it perfectly spaced at first, but you can always just spread them out a little bit. So as you can see, they're in place there now. So now we will build our second set. And I know some people will say, well, you're not really lubing any of the spacers, but I am. I have lube all over my gloves, so I'm kind of just rubbing it between my fingers to get some of the diff oil that was already in here on them. This could, if you didn't know what the hell I was talking about, this could sound like a really awkward conversation. All right, let's see. Okay, now whereas that bottom set that I put on, I don't know if you can see the notch on the shaft here. I think you should be able to. If you can see the notch where where the bottom shaft went down, the notch was facing up. This shaft, the notch is going to be facing down. So I'm just going to turn it so it's facing down. I'm going to get the spacers also facing down. Try to get them as parallel as possible. I think that's pretty close. And then okay, I've never had one go in that smoothly. I'm pretty freaking stoked about that. Usually they can be a little bit finicky, but damn, that went in well. So now you can see there's your aluminum housing rebuilt, right? Or your aluminum carrier rebuilt there. So done there. Now what we need to do is get diff lube. It's already open. So I don't know if anybody else has noticed, but Traxxas 100K diff lube is like out of stock absolutely everywhere right now. But on A-Main Hobbies, they had Flashpoint Racing 100K diff lube, diff fluid, whatever. And it's much bigger bottles. I think I got 2 huge ass bottles of this for, again, not family friendly anymore. 2 big bottles for like, I don't know, it was like $18. So I was pretty stoked about that. And these bottles are a lot easier to deal with, it looks like, than the Traxxas bottles. Now, potentially put way too much in there, I'm not sure, because it'll take a while to seat. And what I'll do, if I can find it, I usually have it right next to me. All right, it's playing tricks on me here. Is this a joke? See, organized chaos. Oh, there it is. No, it's not. Organized chaos is sometimes only chaos. My wife always gets mad because I'm not the most organized when it comes to how I have my stuff always laid out. There it is. And then I get mad at her when she tries to help me with organization. So I'll move I'll move this around so just a little bit. I try to pack it down into the little area, not really pack it down, but just move it so it can settle into where the spacers are, as well as behind the spider gears. Not that it's not going to do that naturally anyways, but I like to have these things full. Okay, I know some people say, well, don't overfill your diffs. If there's additional diff fluid, it's going to come out when I put the ring gear back on. To me, no harm, no foul. I don't see the problem with it. Some people say, you know, overfilling your diffs can hurt them, whatever. I don't know. I come from a real truck world, and not that you're really packing them to the gills, but never heard of a diff going bad because it had too much fluid in it. So now you can see what looked like too much before is now obviously there's plenty of room left here because I moved it around. There we go. Now it might be too much, but that's okay. If we get a little bit of run out, it'll be all right. All right, so now while this is settling down, I'm hoping it settles a little bit because, yeah, that might have been a bit too much. I'm gonna leave that sit there for a second. I'm gonna get my screws ready that are gonna go in the ring gear. Now, and I'm just gonna get my calipers out so I can show you. This is a black screw and I have black gloves on, so you're gonna have to bear with me. This screw, I'm gonna have to do it other-handed here. I believe this screw is a 15 that goes in the plastic diff. That's rated, yeah, 15, well, 14.99, that's just because I'm not actually, right, well, it's a 15. I don't need to say anymore. And the ones I'm going to be using, all right, I would lose my head here if I didn't know what I was doing. All right. Are 10s. And the 10s are right here. And you need 4 of them. I eyeballed it. I think I grabbed the right ones. I guess I'm gonna caliper these two just to make sure. Just in case I didn't, but I'm pretty sure I grabbed the 10s. Yeah, they're the 10s. So 10 millimeter. All right. Yep, too much. We're gonna have a lot of squeezage there. So I'm just gonna get ahead of the game here because that's gonna squeeze out way too much. It's gonna make a mess. So I'm just gonna take some of it here. Just a nice little clump. And get it out of there. That should be much better. All right. Diffs is messy business. All right. I'm going to take the gasket, which is obviously in perfect shape. That would really help if gloves are not assisting me here. All right. We're going to put the gasket back on. That is not right. It's the first time I ever do this with gloves, and it is not enjoyable. It's because the gloves are sticking to everything. There we go. I'm sorry if my breathing is coming through heavy on here. I have, like, our pollen is ridiculous out here. My allergies this year are really kind of kicking my ass. All right. All right. There we are. Yep, I'm already having some squeeze out there. But oh well. We're going to crank her down. We're going to have some blow out the screw holes. It is what it is. Not overly concerned. It's not going to make too much of a difference. It'll come out the seams. The diff will be nice and tight. I'm using 100K in the front and the rear. And earplugs in the center. I'm doing kind of a different thing than most. But that's okay. I think it should work out pretty well. Now, most people will tell you, never use power tools to tighten this stuff down, and to be frank with you, they're right. Because it's easy to get carried away. Now, I always just start tightening them, and then I go extremely slow, and as soon as I get the tension I want, I kind of work them back and forth. Okay, so that was tension. I'm not over torquing. And always go crossways, just like you do lug nuts. I will give them one final. Because you want, obviously, the ring gear to be tight into your diff. Okay. Now, that's that. So that's your rebuilt aluminum diff. Yeah, I guess I'm just going to end this video here, and I'm going to immediately show you guys how to shim. So just go to the next video or look on my page. The next video is going to be shimming. So if you liked it, great. Traxxas centered diff aluminum diff carrier can be used in the front and the rear. A lot of people will tell you it can't. It can. There's proof. Thanks, guys. Have a good night. And bash on. Thank you for joining me. And please remember to like and subscribe. Not that I'm trying to make money on the channel, really, but I just want to help people, and liking and subscribing or even leaving me a comment helps out with that agenda. So if you could, thanks, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.